All right, just a quick video on why we're going to be changing how we view properties moving forward, how we comp properties. So this is really for both you, for Bassett and Braxton. A little bit more for Braxton because today we're going to be doing a little research on how we're going to be going about tackling this market. So we recently lost that Hudson property today. Like we just missed the whole value altogether because the values are changing so quickly. So, but with that said, I know that wholesalers are still selling properties out there, and there's still a lot of buyer activity. I was talking to a wholesaler yesterday who had a lower price property, and the property he had was priced well, and the ARV was set very conservative, and he said his phone was just ringing off the hook. So he's going to sell it, no problem. I called on it trying to seeing if he would let me re-wholesale it for him, but he really didn't have any interest in letting me do that because he had so much interest. So, anyways, so I mean, the good news is the buyer activity is there. We just need to readjust our comps once again. Back in the wintertime, we were at this extreme sellers market. Now we're moving more into a healthy market, but the problem is that we're moving very quickly. We went from a seller's market back into, I would call it a healthy market, but it went really fast. And so investors are being super conservative because of the straight line up. So, I mean, we basically increased 8,000 houses by July. I think it's starting to level off here in August from what I'm seeing with my numbers. I think I'm at maybe 13,000, somewhere around there. I'd have to look. Actually, let me take a quick look. I'm just curious. All right, just run some quick active numbers. So we went active. I had to do three different price points to get these numbers right because if you go, um, you know, you have nothing in there, it goes 5,000 plus that and gives numbers. But it was like a total of when I totaled it all up, from 0 to 550, 4,700, 550 to 750 was another 4,700, and then 750 plus is whatever. So the total came to 13,300. So going back to our number here, we are still increasing quite a bit, actually. It's still kind of going up. So, I mean, I'm sure it'll level off here this late summer, fall, but who knows? Investors don't know because everything's climbing so quickly. So with that said, we can't be using comps that are in this period of time. Really. I mean, we'll send them out. Oh, thanks. We'll send them out, but if we really want investors to take our deal seriously, we need to be using comps kind of in this time period. All right. So May, June, July, August period. All right. So, I mean, to put this in comparison, this has increased, almost 9,000 is what we're into since wintertime. Versus last year, we got an increase of what, 3,000? This time period, we got an increase of 3 or 4,000. This is our biggest increase that we have in the last 5 years from 12 to 19, which is what, 7,000. And so you get the point. So we've had a 9,000 house increase, and we don't really know the end of it yet because the feds are doing all their funky stuff. So um, that kind of gives you an idea of why we're having to readjust our comps again. Okay, so let me take a look at a neighborhood, and we'll just comp something out real fast, and we'll just look at it um, with kind of our new lens, with everything kind of put in perspective. All right, so here's an off-market deal that I'm just comping out real quick. I've kept an eye on this and been trying to do something with it for a little bit, and I wanted to check to see if the value is still the same. I had an ARV of 650 basically on it uh, back probably March. So, anyways, let's just see what we come up with here. So, first off, I think we need to be definitely looking strongest at comps from 0 to 90 days. All right. If you can't find anything within your neighborhood for 0 to 90 days, then of course, you'll have to bump that out to 180 days. Okay. Um, but I would definitely I would definitely stick in this time period, 0 to 90 days, because things have changed so dramatically. So if you have to change your square footage and try to get a little bit better comp, that's okay too. But you can kind of play with this and go from 0 to 180 days, or stay in that 0 to 90 days and kind of adjust your square footage out. Luckily, I'm fine with my comps here. So um, I've got 180, 100, I'm sorry, 680, 670, and then on down. Um, what I find interesting about this, so these are all pretty decent comps. So immediately we're going to probably throw out this top one because this looks like a newer build anyways. No, just really updated. Um, so probably the 670 I'll look at pretty seriously, which is decent, right? That's pretty nice. And then we're getting down to something that's probably not fixed up at all. So we're already kind of in that high 600s. That's not terrible, actually. It's just a little dated. So I'm kind of in this range right here, the 670 range already. And then I'm looking right here at what's under contract. So this Chase Street, I believe, a pretty decent fix up. I don't think it's a recent remodel, but it's pretty darn nice. So that was on the market 66 days. Looks like it's probably under contract around 650. Why I'm doing this, why I'm looking at pendings, because investors are looking at pendings. They are seeing the rising inventory and they're seeing pricing going down. So they're looking at this. All right. So we also need to look at pendings and kind of get a gauge. So we already got a ballpark gauge of 670, but now based on our pendings, we're probably around closer to 650, which is kind of what I had before anyways, which was interesting, clear back in February. I think because this is a structural house and I had some discount on that. So this one's okay at 550, 2100 square foot. Okay. And then, of course, I'm going to take a look at some actives here. So this one right here stood out for me as a remodel, not brick, but pretty recent remodel. I mean, this is a brand new remodel, looks like to me, right? Okay. So kind of a funky style, but nonetheless, it is a remodel. So I'm going to take a closer look at that. That was been on the market for 34 days. Looks like they dropped the price down to 650. So they're probably around that 650, 640. So I'm already pretty darn confident at my 650, 640 to 650 range. You see how I did that? So I first went and I looked at the solds, got a baseline off of what the solds is based on the last 90 days. And then I kind of went and looked at the under contracts and the active just to kind of to confirm my numbers a little bit more. I think some neighborhoods will see a even more price drop, or maybe not any price drop at all when we do this kind of process. But just kind of look up into this. Of course, these aren't going to weigh as heavily as our solds, but you see how I adjusted my number based off the 670 down to 650, just based on what I'm seeing with the under contracts and solds. So we need to start doing this because investors are doing this. Investors are doing this because our inventory is going up quite a bit, pretty dramatically. Pricing is going down. I mean, we can probably, I don't think this really shows. Yep, right here, pricing is going down. All right. So we need to be looking at it in this way because we're now, instead of this quick upwards market, we're in this downward slide market. Um, the market's crazy right now. It's not super steady like it used to be. We are in a time where the real estate market is almost like the stock market, right? It's just moving up and down very quickly. So that is where we're at. So that's how we want to be comping properties moving forward. And when I talk about being conservative, That's what I'm talking about. This is being conservative with my pricing, right? Even more conservative would probably be 640, right? Just based on what we're seeing because we know we're in a downward slide. All right. So hopefully that helps with you guys adjusting how you're comping properties. And I'll probably be shooting a few more of these as we move along, just to make sure that we all get on the same page with this adjusting market.